One second.
Vitya, you can start now.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to welcome you all to the research program conducted by the Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka in association with Emerald Publishing and the Gulf Medical University, UAE. This is the 13th webinar of Writing Impactful Research program. With a great respect, let me first welcome the main speaker of the session, Dr. Shubhra Dutta, customer consultant from the Elsevier. Today she is discussing on the Elsevier tools facilitating research writing. With a gratitude, let me also welcome Professor Athula Gnanapala, Dean of the Faculty of Management Studies, Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka, and Professor M.S.M. Aslam, Chairman of Research and Publication Unit of the Faculty of Management Studies, Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka. Then with the gratitude, let me welcome our regional coordinators of this webinar, Dr. Jayantha N, Dewasiri, Senior Lecturer, Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka, Ms. Sangeeta Menon, Publishing Relationship Manager, Emerald Publishing, Professor Sudhir Rana, Gulf Medical University, and Professor Kashif Said, Gift University, Pakistan. In fact, they supported a lot in making this program a great success. Then, with a gratitude, let me also welcome Ms. Disha Lakhanpal, Regional Marketing Manager, Emerald Publishing Group. Then, with a great respect, I would like to welcome all the distinguished participants from Emerald Publishing, Gulf Medical University, and the Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka. Then, with a gratitude, let me also welcome the respected audience, mainly of academics from all the universities worldwide, senior professors, senior lecturers, students, and researchers are welcome to the program for making the session lively. Further, I would like to welcome the media partners of the program, Sunday Observer and Sunday Times Sri Lanka. Last but not least, I would like to introduce the main speaker of the program today. Dr. Shubhra Dutta is a customer consultant from Elsevier. She has more than 15 years experience in academic and corporate research in cell biology and field of drug discovery. She has worked with all the 5 top global pharma companies and have contributed in developing solutions for various clinical conditions and diseases. She has a master's degree from IIT Roorkee, India, and doctorate from Jawaharlal Nehru University, India. And she is currently working with Elsevier for the past 4 years as customer consultant, supporting researchers and institute in their quest for research excellence. Thank you. Dr. Shubhra Dutta, it's over to you, madam.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the very warm welcome. And first of all, greetings to our dignitaries and all our participants today. Hope you are doing well. I would really appreciate and give my appreciation and thanks to Dr. Jayantha for inviting me here today, and to the entire Emerald team for accommodating me as well and coordinating everything. So thank you for that. So just begin with my presentation. Is my screen visible?
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. I just shut down my video. Okay. So I understand you have been having these a very successful course throughout this year on the research program on the impact of writing. And today I would be specifically talking about Elsevier tools and how they can facilitate your entire research writing process. Right. Okay. So the entire world has been going through the pandemic, and both India and Sri Lanka have been bearing the brunt of it all. And mostly, if we look at the academia, we are kind of stressed out. The schools, colleges have been closed. We're sitting at, there's a lot of work from home to do. The direct interaction is missing. right? So it may lead to a lot of fear of failure. We are losing out on time. If I'm a researcher, I'm losing out on time, and it leads to a lot of anxiety and stress. What will happen? How do I work on my PhD? Or I have a project running, what do I do? So overall, there's a lot of stress going on. But I would say we should look at it as opportunities in adversities, right? Right now we can actually sit and think back, look upon our research strategies, and make some very distinguished decisions how to go forward with our research planning so that we gain the maximum momentum out of it. And one thing that COVID has given us is the digital transformation. So I came across this very interesting little cartoon, which I'm sharing on my screen right now, that who led the digital transformation of your company, or in our case, our university. So was it the vice chancellor, the principal? Fortunately or unfortunately, it is COVID-19. And because of that, today we are here, although miles apart, still talking and discussing how to make research stronger at your university in Sri Lanka. So this is just one snapshot of how Elsevier has been helping throughout the COVID-19 crisis. And if any of the researchers out there in the audience today are working in the area of COVID-19, then I would welcome you to our website, Elsevier Coronavirus Research Hub, which provides a lot of free data, content, even analytical tools. A lot of our tools that I'll be talking about it today are provided free across the board for all researchers working in the area of COVID-19. So do visit our website, Elsevier Coronavirus Research Hub, and I'm sure you'll gain something out of it. So if we look at your research cycle, it's the same for everyone across the world, right? And many of you may be at different steps or ladders of this cycle. It all begins with when you decide that you want to work on a particular topic, right? You want to look around. Why do you need to work on this topic? What is so important, right? You develop a proposal around it. Uh, you look at what all funding aspects are available. Who all do you need to work with? Do you need to get external help, experts on that? What all equipments are required? How much manpower is needed? So you get everything set up, and then you conduct your project, uh, do your experiments, get your data, analyze the data, and then you would want to be presenting them in the most lucid manner so that whoever you are going to share it with is able to understand it better. And then you would want to publish so that that information is disseminated across the world and people have a better view. So people have a better view of what you have been doing, and how can your data, how can your discoveries help move science forward. Uh, so dissemination of information is important, and it's important to reach the right readership. That's super important, I would say, because only then the right people would be benefited by your work, and science would grow stronger in your research area. Once all of this done, the impact of your work would be analyzed, the progress of your work would be analyzed, and then you would make a decision of either taking the project further or canning it completely. You may begin on a new project or you may continue with another one, but the cycle remains the same. And as and when the cycle gets, you get a little pro in this cycle, you smoothen out the creases, you develop a rich ecosystem of research, right? You do better discoveries, write better papers, you lead to a general overall growth of the students, the researchers in that particular area. Overall, if you see, it's all a very fertile ecosystem that you're working in for research, ultimately leading to innovation. And that's what all we are aspiring for. Now, when we talk about impactful research writing, it actually originates from when you have the idea in mind as to what you should be doing to getting it to that completion stage and having an impactful publication out of it, right? So developing the research question first and foremost is the most important thing. You to identify the broad problem area. What is the potential in that area? Uh, what are the challenges? What all work has already been done? So based on this, you will narrow down on your topic on how and the whys of it. And then you evaluate the question, the relevance of the question that you're trying to deal over here, and develop your hypothesis. Now over here, when you look at the research question and you tend to do a lot of literature survey based on this, you have to be clear in your mind. Are my students or are the researchers looking into the right information places, or are they relying on scientific information from places like uncurated places like Wikipedia? Now that would be dangerous. Nothing is verified over there. And if you're into scientific research, then you should better take care of that. How is the information flowing? What I mean is, there is a paper, a research article you've come across, you really like it, but how is the information flowing? It is one of the bricks in the entire house, right? So, what were the references it has used? Where is the previous information coming in from? How is the current information being utilized by others? In what context? How is the story building up? How are each bricks making up the house? Or in this case, how is each of the research articles building up the story in your research area? And of course, are we looking at the best content available? Now that's super important, because all it depends is on the training of your students. I'll give my personal example. When I was doing my PhD and I joined a lab, it was a very big lab. My professor, before she assigned any work to me, like the first few weeks I was there, uh, I used to be part of a journal club, and she had given me the duty that every week I had to present a research article in that journal club. Fine enough. First time, she gave me a paper. She gave me a research article coming from the journal Cell. Now, Cell is, so I'm from the life science background, as was already told in my introduction. So she gave me a publication from the journal Cell, Cell being the leading journal in the area of life sciences. I being a newbie into PhD, it was very difficult for me to understand that paper. It took me the entire week to read it, and still I was not very happy with how the presentation came up because I did not understand quite a bit of it. So I was kind of quite embarrassed. So next week, when my turn came, And this time my professor, of course, she had a big lab, lot of students, she was busy, and she was like, okay, you go and pick your own publication, what you want to do. Probably even she was wanting to give me a little easy time. So I went and picked up one of the mediocre journals and an article from there. Given in my background, it was easy for me to understand it. I was good in presentation, so I made a good, nice presentation, a lot of pictures and all. Uh, and my presentation that week went wonderful. I repeated it the next time and the next time. So after a month, my professor calls me in and says, okay, I've been seeing your presentations, they have been good, but I just want to ask you one question. Who are you fooling? It's you or on me? I said, I was taken aback. I was like, what are you talking about? I don't understand this, she said. I see you have been doing good presentations, but you've been choosing very below the average papers. So I understand it's very easy for you to pick it up, jazz it up, and do a presentation. But this presentation is not for me, it's for you. It's your initial days, and that's how you build your base, right? If you don't try harder, it will be difficult going forward. And that's how you have to train yourself. And that's why I gave you that whole story. That's how we need to train our students on this, you know, reading good quality, because the more you read, those are the ideas you imbibe, and that reflects in your writing skills. So it's important uh, that the base is strong, and of course the inputs are right, as it goes in the computer science, garbage in, garbage out. So you given good material, you will come out with good publications at the end of it. So that's important. So first of all, to promote quality research, it is important that you develop scientific thinking in your students, and that will come through training only, right? And if we look at Elsevier, it's one of the oldest publication houses in the entire world, and our platform ScienceDirect provides some quality publications uh, to all the researchers globally. 31% of Elsevier journals are ranked number one. We have been the leader in quality research content, and we have a rich legacy for it. So if we go in our history, then one of Galileo's paper was published with Elsevier. So that's how old we are. Uh, if we come to the recent times, we have been publishing some cutting edge technology. So the very Google that we have been working on and using it for all our day-to-day activities. In fact, in logging to this webinar also, it kind of helped me. So the Google prototype was published in an Elsevier journal. 99% of the Nobel laureates have published with Elsevier. So that's a quality content that you get uh, from its journals. And it's very easy to read the articles on ScienceDirect also. So earlier, when I was doing my PhD, the best thing was you took a research article, take a printout of it, and you read the paper, make your annotations on it, and you read it, right? And you save it, take it along everywhere. With the advent of technology, it has become much, much easier, and ScienceDirect helps researchers, uncover contextual information while reading. Now that is very, very important. So when a student is reading a paper on ScienceDirect in the HTML format that is directly online, all the references are hyperlinked. You can directly go on to the references. You don't have to toggle between different platforms and websites. When we are reading content, many a time we come across some terms which are familiar, but we don't recall what exactly it is, right? So, or we don't know them. Either we put them aside, that we look into some encyclopedia or look them up on internet sometime later, or if we do it, if we are perseverant enough, we do it right then, but it kind of, you miss out the thread of your reading. So in this case, what ScienceDirect has done, it has hyperlinked important information within the paper, right? So let's say I'm reading this paper, I come across this encephalitis. I know, I have an idea what encephalitis is, but what is it exactly? So these terms are hyperlinked. If you click on them, book content theories will show up, related abstracts from book content will show up. So that will help you understand about the topic quickly. If you want more details, there are links given. You can go further into it and read about it more. But for the time being, while reading your paper, your basics are taken care of. You no need to rely on simple Google searches for things that you're not able to understand and going to websites where there are unverified informations. So this is kind of important to set your base. Next, this is about the literature survey that we are talking about, reading good content. Next is developing the research plan. Now it's very important that when you develop your research question, that you take it through various checks and understand if they fall correctly within these set parameters. Like the problem that you have chosen, is it feasible? Can you do it? Do you need extra support for it? Is it interesting enough? Is it novel? Because based on this, only there would be value attached to the work that you are doing. Is it ethical? Or do you need to get some approvals for it associated with it? Is it relevant to current context? Be it providing solution to some industry problem or society needs or working towards the sustainable development goals lined up by the UN, United Nations, or they are aligned to your country's national mission. So are they relevant? Is all of this manageable and appropriate? Does it have potential value? So value would be determined in two ways. One, does it have the potential value to attract funding? And secondly, does it have potential value to be published in a good journal, right? So the thing starts from starting itself, right? When you think that only writing the paper will lead you to a good journal, it is not so. It will have to begin from the time you develop your research question. So actually, if you go through all these parameters, these are some of the questions that you'll come across. Like, have you covered all the possible areas? Have you seen everything to understand the gaps, the challenges, the constraints in that particular area? Are you channelizing your strengths in the right direction? And do you have the expertise for it? Or do you want more people in it? As a researcher, you have been maybe grappling in different research areas, overlapping areas. What are your strengths? Are you working on them? There may be some areas where you don't have that much of expertise, so you may want to look out for collaborators. There may be organizations which have faculties, total complete faculties on your particular area only. So probably a collaboration with their university would be a good idea to open up avenues of exposure and experience. Is this problem trending? As I said, is it relevant to the industry or the society or your country? Can this be funded? And if yes, who's funding it? Who do you approach? Can this be published? Where can you publish it? If at all yes, where can you publish it? And what all should you keep in mind when you're looking at a journal? Should you look at only impact factor? Uh, will that guarantee that your publication will be disseminated well and would receive the required citations that you're hoping for? Or do you need to assess other things before choosing a journal, except impact factor? So these are some of the questions that need to ponder upon. And this is where our second offering, Elsevier's second offering, Scopus, comes into picture. So Scopus is a platform that's the world's largest abstract and citation database of peer-reviewed literature. Uh, this one helps you make a lot of informed decisions in your research workflow. And how does it do that? Because of the content it is hosting. It has more than 5,000 plus publishers data on Scopus, with more than 76 million items or research articles present over there. Many people think that probably Scopus is only a pure sciences thing. It is not like that. Any research that is happening and is being published, that area would be covered by Scopus. So broadly, if you see health sciences, physical sciences, social sciences, life sciences, everything is covered in Scopus. Some of the basic questions that Scopus helps the researchers understand is different personas at a university can be helped by Scopus. So I've just put in some representative questions, like a researcher may be asking, which journals should I publish to make myself more visible? Where do I find, or how do I find funding? Or who do I collaborate with to increase my chances of publishing successfully and getting cited? A librarian may be thinking, how do I give the best relevant resources to my researchers? A senior person may be thinking, how can I increase my organization's prestige and ranking? Right. So all of this can be supported by Scopus. One of the main reasons that the Scopus can help you with research management and ranking perspective is because Scopus is being used by the world's top ranking agency. So if you look at QS World Rankings, THE World Rankings, all of them, they use Scopus exclusively. So that's something, that data, even when you have the overview of how your performance is being assessed, gives you a lot of bandwidth to plan your research strategy ahead. So let me just give you an example of COVID, because this is something that all of us are living through it. So I thought, you know, you'll be able to relate to it, even if you're coming from different backgrounds. So when COVID landed in our lives, there was mayhem, and we needed to, get up to speed to quickly discover what was this disease all about, and try to find a solution and get a vaccine quickly out. So COVID vaccines would be the world's fastest vaccines ever delivered, right? So for that, it was super important that we understand what all work has already happened in the past, what is going on, who all are the top researchers, so that the countries can fund them and respective solutions can be taken up. So if we look at the Scopus analytics on coronavirus, COVID-19. So if I look at the research trend, so there was fairly not much going on up till 2003, when first time, if you see this increase, there's a rise in the graph, and that is when SARS-CoV-1 struck the world. So it was a localized problem, it was taken care of, so the research activity went down a little bit, and then again, somewhere after 2010, I think, MERS, or Middle East respiratory syndrome, struck in, which is also from the family of coronavirus. This was extremely localized, that's only in the Middle East. So we do see a rise in the activity over here, but not so much, because it was extremely localized and the whole world is not associated with it. But then come to 2020, and we see that it is almost a straight line of activity, and that's when the whole world got into the pandemic of SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19. So trends are very important to analyze. What has been the historical perspective, how a particular problem is being dealt by the entire research community. Then people would have been looking for which are the top universities, medical research labs, which have been working on coronavirus, who have the expertise till now, so that you can put your money on them, that these are the ones who can come up with some sort of a solution or some information on this. So if you look at it, the University of Hong Kong was leading. So this is for 2020 research, and this kind of matches with this news article also that I came across, that two Hong Kong medical centers which were part of University of Hong Kong, they were provided the initial funding for COVID-19 to take this further, because all the expertise lies over there. It's good to look at the author level visualization also, who are the top researchers who's leading in it, so that you identify your experts for it if you want to get them together for a collaboration, or the industries want to tap them for their work or for any collaboration, or you want to do your academic collaborations. So any perspective. Then of course, a lot of material is getting published. Where is it getting published? So as a researcher in that area, what are the journals that you should be following to be able to get a overview of maximum research happening in the world on this area, right? So over here we do see that Journal of Virology, which is incidentally a Elsevier journal, is leading, followed by others. So there's a two-way information that you get from here, that as a researcher you should be reading these journals. As an author, these are some of the journals that you can target if you are working in this particular field, right? So this information works two ways. It's up to you how you want to utilize it. Another thing that we have noticed during the last year is COVID-19 has affected everyone. So you need not be a doctor uh, to be providing a supporting arm in the fight against COVID. And that's how we see it in the academics also. So it's not only the medicine field that will provide or that has been doing research. Of course, they would be leading it in providing a solution to COVID, but rest of the sectors are also pitching in to provide help to analyze the ground situation in all means that they can support. So it's good to have an overview of interdisciplinary research, right? So in this case, let's say if I want to know, because in a university there are always uh, different faculties, and you may want to engage in cross-disciplinary research because that leads to most application-based outcomes. So what you may be looking at, uh, coronavirus. If I do a simple search on any platform, I'll end up mostly with research articles coming in from the field of medicine or life sciences. But I want to know how an engineering researcher can pitch in for this. So if we go through Scopus and we do a subject-wise analysis, I just looked up some of the publications on coronavirus on engineering, very easy to do with the click of a button. And I see what all publications have come up related to engineering and design uh, in COVID-19. So this is something interesting to look at. And this again corroborates to on-ground reality where people have been looking forward to, design changes or engineering remodeling to help go through coronavirus. Likewise, Scopus can help you find funders also for your work. So if we do an analysis of the research of coronavirus, we get to see that the NIH or National Institutes of Health USA is leading in the funding program of coronavirus, followed by National Natural Science Foundation. This, I think, belongs to China. And of course, you can do it at your country level also, that if you're working in a particular area, then which are the Sri Lankan agencies or which are the other global agencies which are funding Sri Lankan work, who are sponsoring such project on the topic that you're working on. So Scopus kind of helps you with that. Also, it helps you understand your strengths and uh, the most impactful areas of the research that you have been working on. So over here, I am just looking at the profile of the top author on coronavirus. I already showed you that list, right? So I did just an analysis of that person, and I see over here it has been sorted based on um, the topics that he has been working on. How much has he published in these topic areas? Globally, how many documents they are? What is the FWCI? Now, this is a very interesting metrics, which is known as the field weighted citation impact. It is a normalized metric, which means because if you look at citations, citations is an absolute number. If a paper has received 10 citations and another paper has received 5 citations, if you ask which is a better paper, most of you would say, okay, paper with 10 citations is better. But is it better? Because we just looked at the number. We did not look at the subject they're coming in from. So probably the paper with 10 citations is coming from the field of engineering, and probably the paper with 5 citations is coming from the field of theoretical maths, where even 5 citations is very high. And for engineering, 10 citations is low. So you can't do a direct comparison. And that's where FWCI comes up. It's a normalized matrix. Anything above 1 is very good. And then the worldwide prominence, like how much momentum is there in this field. So if we analyze this person, then he is doing exceptionally well in the case of viruses or novel viruses, I would say. He worked a lot on coronavirus, on MERS, he worked on Zika virus, and his papers have a very high FWCI, and this area also has a high momentum, that it's a area of need globally. And if you look at his performance using penicillium antibiotic, uh, then the FWCI is below 1.5, very less, and the momentum has also dropped down to 70. So probably if I'm that researcher, I can make a decision that, I can stop working on this area and use that manpower to boost my strengths in the other areas, or vice versa. I see somehow this is not working. Probably I need to put in either more manpower, get some experts, more funding into this area to boost this. Either or, it will help me to make my decision going forward. So this was all about Scopus and how Scopus can help you um, make your research strategy, develop it when you are looking into your project. It also helps in looking at journals. Which journals can you present in? So what I'll do is let me just show you a live demo for that. Okay, here we are. I just want to show you how we can do selection of journals as well. So we have this tool, compare sources, which is a very interesting tool wherein you can compare 10 journals at a time, right? You can type in the name of the journal over here and you can search it and add it over here. What I'll do, just for the demo purpose, not the best way to do it. So since this first journal that we have picked up is a molecular biology, cell biology journal. So I'll just type molecular biology. So we have a lot of journals coming in over here, which are in the field of molecular biology. And let's say I want to compare them. I'm just randomly picking up. Okay, I think I have quite a few journals. Now over here, this journal is very high rated. I'll remove this because it's skewing the whole graph. Okay, this is better. So, as I said, then looking while deciding a journal, it's good to look at various factors. Like one is looking at the trend. It's very, very important because let's say I was a researcher um, somewhere over here in 2014 and I say, okay, this journal was quite a poor journal at that point of time and I don't want to publish over here. But over the years, I have not realized it has become come at the same level as other journals, right? Or I was at this level and say, okay, this is one of the best journals at that time, but now it has gone down. So it's good to look at the trend and do not believe only on the absolute number or the ratings that you get. But I have given you one example of subject variation, right? So this is based on site score. Site score is an metric just like impact factor, but it is there for all journals in Scopus because impact factor is missing. It's not there for all journals, so you do not know how good or bad a journal is if it's not having an impact factor. So site score would be there for all journals in Scopus. It's almost similar. Second thing is as I said, should impact factor help you to decide a journal? Same thing. Should site score help you decide a journal? No. Why I gave you the example of engineering and mathematics, theoretical mathematics. So engineering impact factor would tend to go higher. Same way for chemistry, because there's a lot of momentum in those fields. On the other hand, theoretical maths, theoretical physics, uh, the impact factor would be comparatively lower, because the momentum is lower in those fields. Social sciences, yeah, they would hardly breach the double figure. So it's good to again not only look at site score or impact factor, but also at a normalized metric like SNIP. So over here, going by SNIP, if you see, then this journal is one of the best. So if I'm to publish a review on biochemistry or molecular biology, then this would be my best bet. And accordingly, you can look at other subject areas also. So this is source normalized impact per paper by year, a very, very important matrix to be able to have a oranges to oranges comparison, and not just do a impact factor calibration. And you don't look at the subject area they're coming from. So this is very, very important. But okay, besides this, there could be other factors that should help you decide a journal. Like for a young researcher, they would quickly want to publish, right? So they would want to look at time factor. They would want to look at which are the journals who are likely to accept. So probably you could look at this documents by year of publication. So if you look at this journal, this has published some 277 articles in 2019. On the other hand, this journal has published only 25 articles in 2019. So that's more than 10 times a difference, right? So what's the probability? It'll be higher if you go for if your work is not absolutely novel, right? Then of course it makes sense to go for a journal where there's a higher category. But if there's a senior researcher, for them quality would matter, the journal prestige would matter, because that's how they will gain citations. So they could look at SJR. So SJR is basically a prestige matrix that looks at where the citations are coming in from, how is the linkage of the journal. Now that's very important. Like in the case of impact factor, the impact factor may be driven by higher citations, but they may be coming from lower quality journals. But SJR takes into account of everything. SciMargo Journal Ranking, SJR. So this is something that you could be looking at. Or you could be looking at the citation pattern. Now, if I look at this journal, wait a minute. 66% of the articles were not cited. On the other hand, only 6% articles were not cited. That means 94% articles were cited. Probably that's the right readership. If you tend to publish over here, there is a high possibility your citations will increase. So Mendeley helps us, Scopus helps us to make a decisions as to which journal would be more suited for your work. And as I said, the thing for choosing the journal begins right from your research question, developing it properly, and then coming to that stage. So the third tool that I'll be talking about today is Mendeley. So Mendeley again is an offering from Elsevier. This is a reference management tool which is very seamlessly integrated with our other platforms, ScienceDirect and Scopus. So ScienceDirect and Scopus, they are all subscription platforms that you need to pay to use it. Although features on ScienceDirect, a lot of features are free. You can check them out. Mendeley, on the other hand, is completely a free tool which can be used by anyone. And this not only helps you to manage your literature during your writing process, but it also helps you in getting your citations uh, inside your manuscript while writing. So it's basically cite while you write. So Mendeley, as a reference manager, eases the laborious process of in-text citations and creation of bibliography. And as I said, it's completely free to use. I'll, I'll take you through the actual platform of Mendeley, how you can use it. So we go back to our Chrome browser, Google Chrome browser, and okay, let me log out. Because now there are so many passwords in life, I tend to keep my username, signed in. So I just logged into Mendeley and it directly takes me to my profile only. So easy way. There's so many passwords to learn. It gets difficult. But just to showcase it to you, I'm logging out. So all you have to do is just go onto Google, type in mendeley.com over here, and you will arrive on this page. Please remember there are 3 E's in Mendeley. 1, 2, 3. 3 E's in Mendeley. This will be the page you will arrive at. People who are already having an account can directly go to sign in, or simply you can go to create account. For create account, you don't need much. You will just be needing your email address and a password. That's about it. Nothing else is required. In case you don't have an account on Mendeley, but you have an account for ScienceDirect, because you can create a free account on ScienceDirect also. So if you have an account on ScienceDirect, that email and password combination will work for Mendeley also, and vice versa. So one set of email password will work for ScienceDirect and Mendeley as well. Excuse me. Okay, so I will go on to sign in, because even if I go to create account, it'll take me to sign in only in my case, because the information is saved. So I keep this checked to stay signed in. So Mendeley is a online platform, and this is a crowdsourced platform wherein you can do your part of literature survey also. So this is another place where you can do it, to search for articles in the Mendeley library which have been posted by its users. You will not get access to full text article, only to abstract, and you will not get access to who has posted it. So it's only information on your relevant topic and the articles associated that will come up. So you can search and you can add it in your library as well. Now, once you're over here, the first step that you should be doing is to download the Mendeley Reference Manager. Now you would be thinking, I'm already inside Mendeley. Then what is this? What is it that I'm downloading? This is the offline desktop version. So it's basically like an app. What or where we are right now is we are on the online version, which is like an email. You can close it anywhere and you can open it from anywhere. If I close it over here, I can open it on my phone, I can open it on my office or anywhere on a public space as well. What this downloading thing that we'll do is for the app, the Mendeley app, which will be installed in your laptop. And you can work offline also on it. But the beauty of it is that you can open the Mendeley app from your friend's computer also if he or she has the Mendeley app. So through the app, you can directly visit your account, right? And so there are two versions. This is the online version and this is the desktop version. So you would have to download the desktop version because this is kind of easier. It is not dependent on your internet availability or the speed of the internet. Okay. So one thing is here itself that you would be having the download option. If it is the banner is not coming from here, over here it'll show your name, right? If you just click on this, on the drop down again it shows me download Mendeley, right? Or else if you simply scroll down, over here you see downloads and it shows reference manager, so you can download it from here as well. So three ways I've already shown you from where you can download Mendeley. Okay, once you have downloaded Mendeley, you can search for it on your laptop, on your computer. So here it is, the Mendeley Desktop has been created. And if I open it here, so the first time you open it, it will ask you for your email and password, what you had used for the original login for the Mendeley. Same will be asked. So you can enter your email and password and click on the sync button, and all the information, any new information that you have uploaded over here will be in sync with your online library, the Mendeley page that we were on, right? And whatever was uploaded new over there will be updated and in sync with information on this desktop feature. So syncing is, I would say, a very good feature which harmonizes your applications across. And this helps when if you're logging in from different places, right, and different computers. So this helps. Okay. So first time you open Mendeley, you see a lot of material over here. Nothing would be here. This would be a clean slate because you are opening it for the first time. You still don't have content within it. So for Mendeley, it's the first thing that you have to do is get your material inside Mendeley. Only then you'll be able to use it for your citation purposes. So all you have to do is go to this feature add. You can add files, single files. You can add complete folders and get them inside Mendeley, whatever is there on your desktop, right? And this gets saved in the cloud, so you can, delete it from your computer as well. So it saves space as well. So once it is inside, all your material is inside, it is automatically categorized in the form of authors, title, year of publication, the journal it has been published in, and added. So which date was it added to your library? So that is also given over here. and you can organize it, alphabetically, or you can do it you can decide, or chronologically. It's up to you how you want to do it. Further, uh, some people are very organized. They would like to create a lot of folders, subfolders, and keep their things sorted, right? So for them, the option is there. So let's say I create a folder over here. I name it, let's say I'm working on COVID research. So I've named the folder as COVID. So this folder has been created. The folder is empty right now. To put stuff over here, you have to go to all documents. It's very easy. So this is a COVID paper, and let's say I'll just pick up some papers. This one. Let's say this one. So I've picked up some papers on COVID, and I feel these are COVID papers, and I'll just pull it in the folder. It's not here. Let me do it again. So you can see all the 4 papers are inside this folder. Does not mean that they'll go away from this documents. This all document will be having all the documents, even if you put them in folder. So folders are basically uh, for your ease, right? If you feel that working with folders is better. But there may be people like me who tend to forget what is there in which folder. Is many a times you've saved a paper, you put it in a folder within a folder, and you've forgotten. Next time you need that paper and you search for it, you're not able to find it because you've really kept it nicely and safe. Uh, so you end up downloading the paper again, right? So for such people, we have a very beautiful option which I absolutely love, is this search option. You can simply find out a paper with a keyword, because let's say I remember it's a COVID paper. Now I don't remember the author. I don't remember the journal where it was, right? I don't remember where I have saved it in my computer. So even if I want to download it again, I don't have much information because I don't recall it, right? So in this case, this option is a godsend, I would say. So let's say I do coronavirus. So then I'll realize it is not 4 papers. I have more than 4 papers on coronavirus in my library, right? So this makes it very easy. I found it quite a revelation. Then another beautiful thing in Mendeley is that you can save all formats of material inside Mendeley. Just for an example, as you know, full text is available only for journals which are subscribed by a university or for open access material, right? Now, sometimes you come across publications uh, to which you do not have access. You do not have access to full text, but you feel that paper or research article is quite important and relevant to your work. So what you do is you save the abstract and the citation details, probably save it in a Word file in your computer, and then either you look out for means to get that paper for your help, right? And otherwise, if you've just written it in some notebook, there are chances it will be lost. So what Mendeley does is you can directly save not only full text papers but also abstract informations as well directly. So over here you can see we have two icons over here of Adobe, which means these are full text papers which are available. Ones which do not have the icons means it is only abstract information that is saved, right? So this makes our life a little bit easier. Also, how do you get them inside this? Now, one way I've already told you that you add files, you add folder. So this is for material which is already inside your computer, and you're just simply transferring that material from your desktop inside Mendeley. But uh, research is an ongoing thing. Every day you would be, probably looking for newer research papers, downloading it from various websites and saving it. So what do? You read the newspaper, sorry, a research article, a research paper, download it into your computer, then one day open Mendeley, import those papers inside Mendeley? No, that's a very clumsy way of doing it. And that takes time and energy, and after a point you will lose interest and you'll not put in any paper, right? So to make your life easier, there are two ways that you can get articles which you are actually reading or you're planning to download directly into Mendeley. So there are two ways to it. One, in the add function you have this, it says watch folder. If I click on this watch folder, it'll show me all the folders in my computer, right? I can just pick and choose. So let's say if I go down and I can pick that, okay, this folder downloads is my watch folder and I can apply it, which means going forward, any paper that I save or download in this folder, that paper will be automatically imported into Mendeley. That's one way of doing it. The second way of doing it is you go to tools and install the web importer. Okay, it's hardly less than a minute job to install a web importer. uh, it'll just ask you which browser you are using and you'll have to just follow the instructions. So once you have installed the web importer, how does it look like? So once you've installed, you will get this icon over here. Okay, now let's say I am going to, you go to any website, any publisher website, or even Google to do a search wherever you are trying to find, or Scopus you're trying to find your paper, right? It will help you from any website. So I'm just showing you the example with ScienceDirect only. So I'll do a search on coronavirus only. So I have some 54,000 plus documents, and now I have gone through the paper. Either I can download the PDF, put it in the watch folder, and it'll directly go into Mendeley, or what I can do is I can decide, okay, this paper I want, this paper I want, and I can just click on this button, the Mendeley plugin, web importer plugin. So this new window, a small window will open of Mendeley. This is trying to sign me in. This is taking a few moments. It's a little slow, it seems. As I said, My internet is not very spunky today. Okay, let it open. Let me just explain it to you. What will happen once it opens, it will reflect all these papers, what we are seeing over here, right over here in this box. It will reflect all of it. I can pick and choose. Again, boxes like this will be there. I can pick and choose which paper I want. So I want, let's say, the first two papers. So in this, inside the box, I'll have the check boxes. I can click on those two papers and I'll say save to Mendeley. So these two papers will directly get saved to Mendeley. If I'm having subscription to these journals, then mm, the entire PDF will get saved. I don't even have downloaded from here. If I don't have subscription, I do not have the PDF version, then only the abstract will get saved. So my life is kind of easier in terms of saving material in my reference manager, Mendeley. This is somehow not working. I'm so sorry. So I've kind of briefly explained you what it'll look like and what it'll do. So we'll get back to it again and see if it's working. In the meantime, I go back. So by these two methods, you can directly add material to Mendeley and it'll come within your library. And then of course you can put it in your folders if you want. And if you don't want, then it's okay because you do have your search option to do an easy search out of it. Okay. Now articles which have full text art, the Adobe symbol for which the full text is available. If you double click on it, this paper will open. You can open multiple papers and they'll keep on opening in tabs like this. Okay. Now Mendeley has the beautiful feature of what Adobe Professional provides, right? You annotating your paper, highlighting your paper, all that is available with Mendeley, and that makes it very easy to read. So let's say I am reading this paper because generally we are in the habit of carrying the printout with us, and underlining and writing notes on it. So Mendeley has provided us with, so we can highlight. Okay, I'm going to highlight this. I can highlight this. I can change the color of my highlight as well. Right? And I can put in notes as well. So let's say I say discuss this detail with PI, or I could do let's see here, put in a note, and I say that cross-ref with paper XYZ, whatever. I put in different notes in this paper, so I don't really need the hard copy of it in my hand. And then let me close this. So let's say I was reading this paper, right? So I was reading this paper. If I do a single click, all its information will appear on the right hand side. You can close this window also. You can open it. So double click will open the paper, single click will get all the information over here. Now in this paper I made these notes. I want to have a quick preview of that. So I click on notes and I see that I have to discuss this detail with PI. So if I click on my annotation, it will directly take me to the paper. So my life becomes a little bit easier and organized with Mendeley. So this can be done. Also, all these changes that you have made in the paper, the highlights you have done, you can actually share with your colleague, with your boss, with your collaborator, with your student, right? With these annotations also. You can form a group on Mendeley to share all this. So for this, you have this option of, on the left hand side, create group. So private group can be created. A private group allows only 25 members per group, but you can share PDFs and highlighted annotations to your group members. So if you have your lab, you can create one group for your lab and share with annotations. And what will happen if I share this paper of mine and somebody else puts an annotation, so that person's name will appear and the color coding would be different as well. So that will help you to see what all changes the others have made, right? So Mendeley helps you arrange all that as well. Now this is about organizing your literature within Mendeley. Now about actually getting down to the actual benefit of Mendeley, that is the citation part. So for that, you would have to go to Tools and use install, the second one, install MS Word plugin. Mine is already installed, it says uninstall. Right, you install it. Again, it will take hardly a minute to install. Once you've done that, we open a Word file. Okay, so here we are, the Word file, and once you have installed the Mendeley Word plugin, all you have to do is go to References tab. If you have installed Mendeley, then this feature will appear, Mendeley Cytomatic. If it is not there, then go back, do the uninstall and repeat install it, right? And you would be having this. Now when you're ready to write your research article, before that, get all your literature relevant to that paper within Mendeley. Very, very important, right? So you do that. And once you've done that, then you can start working. So generally when you're writing your paper, what happens? Let's say I'm writing my paper, then I will cite it. Something like this, right? The citation pattern depends on the journal you're submitting to, or if it's a thesis and you're submitting it to your university, then it depends on the university format that they have prescribed, right? And it is a lot of hard work and a laborious work towards checking these citations. Where is the comma? Where is the full stop? Is there a semicolon? And this work kind of uh, amplifies when you're trying to create the bibliography list, right? Because you have to be very clear about the format. The name will come in front, the year will come later, the title will come somewhere in between, and comma, is there a comma in between or a colon in between? So you have to be careful about all that. So Mendeley eases out all of this. So if we look at how Mendeley will help us is again I'm typing the paper and now I want to cite it. So I'll do insert citation, right? And I can, if I remember the title of the paper, I can type it over here. If I don't remember anything, not to worry, just go to Mendeley. It'll take me to the library. I can go to my folders also if I want. So let's say I want to cite this paper. So I just select that paper and do cite. Okay. Now I want to cite another one. Let me go back. I can do a search. Okay. I want to cite this paper. Cite. Okay. So this is how it can go on. But this is happening in the number pattern. Maybe I don't want this format. So Mendeley has close to some 700 styles of various journals which you can utilize over here. So probably recitation. I've already done that. Yeah. So this is in the IEEE format, and I want to change it. I want to get it in, let's say, the APA fashion. So this will look like this, okay? Or I can change it to how nature does it. So I can get it done in this manner, okay? And once I've done with my writing, then I want to put in my bibliography or my reference list. So just go to the page wherever I want to type my bibliography. And simply once I'm done, all I have to do is insert bibliography. And this is by magic, this will all appear. So if I put, you can see, put it APA, this will change. Can go to IEEE. So you can go to more styles and you can select the journal wherever you want to, whichever format you want to cite. Okay, so let's say I go back to IEEE. Now, writing is again a dynamic process. It's an ongoing thing. So you write something, then you change, you make alterations, then you write again, right? So let's say during my writing, I make these changes, right? Now I've made all these changes. Now, if the references were in the bibliography in alphabetical order, then these changes don't matter, right? Because it's in the alphabetical order. It will not change whatever you do. But if these references are in chronological order, in numbering, like the way it is here, then these things will matter. Okay? So now line number 3 goes to line number 1 goes to 3. So there are a lot of paragraph changes happening. So don't worry, you make all your changes, whatever is required, and simply do refresh. So you can see just with a click of button, all of this has changed, right? So accordingly, it has taken up. So it's very easy to use citations, put it in your text while writing. You don't have to wait to complete your writing process to get into the references part and also create your bibliography accurately as the journal requires it, and you don't have to go through the formatting issues, where is there a full stop, is there a comma in the right place, the volume, the page number is there in the right place or not. So Mendeley kind of makes it very easy for all of you. So with this, I would end my presentation on the use of Elsevier tools, which will help you in developing your research plan, making a strategy, looking for the right journals, and then how do you write the paper along with it using Mendeley. So I hope there was something to take by from the session for all of you. And if there are any questions, I will be happy to take them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dutta. Yes, we do have a lot of questions, and I also ask other participants to, drop their questions if you have any. Where we have around the next 20 minutes are for the question and answer round. So the first question that I have is, what is the key USP of Mendeley as compared to other research tools for citation and referencing?
Okay, great question, I would say. So first and foremost thing is Mendeley is absolutely free. So that's the first thing I would say. The space that you're having from Mendeley, that's around 5 GB for free users, which is quite high. Then the features that you're having of the annotations in the paper that you're doing, like you do in professional Adobe, then the sharing of the papers that you can do in a group, all that is unique to Mendeley. These are the features I think it puts it apart. And also the crowdsourcing part, because it is Mendeley is being used by somewhere around 7 million people. So you do have the benefit of going through its crowd library as well to do your literature review.
Great. So there are questions where a specific person has asked if there are any specific tutorials for using Elsevier tools.
Yeah, so all the tutorials are available on the website, whichever product you wish to look at. So let me just show you for Mendeley at least. Let me just share my screen again. So Mendeley, if you log into Mendeley, you scroll down, you see this support help guides. So if you go to these help guides, there'll be easy tutorials. Same way you go to ScienceDirect or you go to Scopus, you would be having tutorials for all of them to help you understand and navigate through the platform.
Right. How Elsevier tools can help us get through right collaborators?
I missed out on the question. Can you repeat again?
Sorry. The question is, how Elsevier tools can help us get through right collaborators?
Right collaborators. Okay, so I did showcase you the Scopus details wherein you can get the leaders in the universities which are leading in a particular research. I gave you the example of coronavirus. Let me just go back to the slide over here. So over here, so you can find out which are the universities which are leading in a particular research and would help you, to increase your exposure to good quality work going on over there. Then let's say you have decided on, let's say this University of Hong Kong, but University of Hong Kong is a very big university, thousands of faculties out there. How do you pinpoint to the right person who would be helping out? So you can actually deep dive into it and look at going to University of Hong Kong. Actually, you can get down to who are the top authors in this particular research area for this purpose. So that's how you can narrow down on your collaborators, and you can be country specific also. So if you want to look at only internally, let's say you want to look at only Sri Lanka, then you can look at Sri Lanka institutes and top authors. You want to target, let's say I'm looking at Germany, I want to go to Max Planck and have a relationship out there, or my university is already having an MAU with let's say University of Cambridge. So let me see in Cambridge who are the top authors I can work with because I have an existing MOU. So that's how you can utilize this.
Great. The second question is, how can you please demonstrate how to track the frequency of publication of a journal?
Frequency of a publication of a journal is basically mm, that can be done from the journal website as well, as to how many publications are coming in its per volume per issue, or even in Scopus you get an overview of how much are they publishing. Let's say on a yearly basis, 2020 they published 100 papers, 2021 they did 200 papers, something like that, so you can keep a track. So you can go to the journal website also, any journal website, because they'll be having the data. And Scopus is more so like it is there for all 7,000 publishers data that is there listed. Hope
Right.
this helps. Yeah.
Yeah. The next question is, what is a good citation score for a management journal? How does it vary as per specializations?
It does vary a lot. Although I'm no management expert, but let's go to Scopus and find out. Because what happens, let's say if you look at the rating, if you look at impact factor for that matter, okay, there's some error. So if you look at impact factor for that matter of a journal, it is driven by the citations the journal is receiving and the publication it is having. Now, again, number of publication, number of citations is again driven by not only the quality of the work that you've done, but also the momentum in that area. How many people are working in that area? How many people are publishing? How many people are reading, citing further? And the network continues, the cycle continues. So accordingly, high momentum areas like chemistry, which is the world's the top research area, I would say, would be way higher. It'll be somewhere in the highest impact factor that you get in a chemistry would be somewhere around, I think, near to 80, I think. While on the other hand, management, as I said, I'm no management expert, so I will not have the data handy at this point, and I'm seeing an error in Scopus right now. But in management, it'll be very less, I'm assuming, comparatively, because the number of people using that sort of data would be less compared to chemistry. So hope this helps you to give you a little bit of an idea. And again, if you go down within the subject of management, somebody will be working on, let's say, human resource, somebody is working on supply chain, right, market analysis. So all of these, again, these are niche areas within the broader area. They also function differently. They have different momentums. So accordingly, their ratings would also differ. So we should not be comparing actually directly all of these journals.
Thank you. The next three questions are actually the same person because they're an important topic. I think we should pick them up. Now, the first question is, when we cite any article in our research, sometimes we are not sure that it is coming from a predatory journal. What is considered as a negative signal for the publication?
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, it says when we cite any article in our research, sometimes we are not sure if it is coming from a predatory journal. Now,
The citation is coming from the predatory journal.
yeah,
Okay.
so they're saying that will that be considered as a negative signal for the publication? As in, if I'm writing a paper and if
Got
I'm
it.
citing, yeah. So how would my publication first?
Very interesting question. If I look
Yeah.
at from the ranking perspective, most like if I look at THE, it completely removes citations which have been done from journals which are not indexed in Scopus. So if you're doing it from a predatory journal and that is not indexed, means it's of a questionable quality, THE removes those citations completely. It does not take into account. One. Two, that's only for THE. QS does not do anything of that sort, but they would be looking at other parameters. Now, it all again depends on what parameters everybody is considering. So if we look at normal impact factor, then let's say your university of appraisal is based on impact factor, then it doesn't really matter because impact factor is not considering where things are coming from. And that's why SJR or SciMargo journal ranking has quite a reputation and is being followed by the top universities of the world because it is a prestige matrix. There it definitely considers where your citation is coming in from. So if somebody is analyzing you from that angle, then definitely it'll be a question mark on your profile. So it's better to always do a background check also on your references as well. It'll help. I'm not saying that it'll be a completely negative thing because there is still a lot of awareness to be built up upon around predatory journals. But yeah, it'll be helpful if you're diligent in your background search.
Right. Now, following up to that question, she says that also few articles are good, but published in a pediatric journal. Can we cite them in our reference? And just before you answer, also everyone else in the panel can take these questions because I know they're not specific to publisher. They are more
Yes.
for everybody else to take as well. So I'd be happy if the other organizers and panelists can also give their point of view. Thank you.
So if I go first,
Yes, sure.
then I would say again, I'll repeat the whole thing. Yeah, that I've already said that it will not really add much value to you, even if it's a good article. I understand, but that journal has not done overall good diligence, so it is not viewed to be a good quality journal. So, because when overall your publications are looked on or looked upon, nobody looks at your article. Everybody just looks at the journal where you have published. It's difficult to get into each article, and that holds true at university level, ranking level, accreditation level, everywhere. So that's why they don't get into each article level. It's very difficult to judge that. So it's that's why they take the journal as a category. So I would also say that you may follow that good article, pick up the good things from there, but try to stay away. That's just my personal recommendation. I would ask if the others have other views around it.
Right. So
Thanks.
I'll
Thank
also
you.
I agree with you, Dr. Shubhra, because again, like you mentioned, that it's not just the article on the basis of which we decide, the quality. Sometimes, unfortunately, is the journal's reputation and quality that is looked into first. So I completely agree with your suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah, like, sorry, colleagues. Here, I though second your thought, but at the same time, it also that your publication portfolio sometime is very topical, and you see some journals coming and catering to that particular domain. So in that duration, and so, articles are written for audience. If I look from author's perspective, and when you see that this particular journal is catering to the specific audience for which this another contribution of yours is written, I think in that case, however, that's rare of the rare case, but in that case, for example, I want to write something for that particular journal or for that particular audience, that can be tweaked. I mean, it totally contextual sometime when you have a masterpiece specially written for that audience. And I have seen those examples, like Professor S. Temer Kawaskill. He is one of the very leading author in international business. And when I started reading his paper, was of an opinion that his papers are going to be all in IBR, JBR, JIBS, journals like that. But when I read author-wise the paper, then I found that articles were contributed across different journals. And the reason was that these different articles were written for different audience. So somebody who want to read a paper as technical as Journal of International Business Studies, one of the famous journal publishes, is written for that. Second paper into some mild journals like International Business Review, or another, however, good category journal, but not as high as JIPS is written in a different language. And some are in very, very ordinary journal where possibly I will not publish my paper, but he has written. So sometimes they know that yes, a different kind of author is, a reader is coming to the journal, and they also need to be given that scholarship of content. So, but again, it depends that what stature of authorship you belong to, what is your contribution to community, uh, all of that. And I'm sure that a rich professor like Professor Kawas will have made a lot of thought before giving even a piece of his paper to such a journal. But authors do, when it comes to the community contribution, they decide, and they decide beyond journals.
I actually, Dr. Rana, I completely believe what you're saying, and I agree with you totally. I think maybe I need to rephrase what I said, uh, because yes, what you are saying is that the contribution of the author to an article should not be journal dependent. It should be the type of readership that we are trying to get at, right? And that's what I feel completely, yes, because that we see, let's say in agriculture, somebody is working on the area of, let's say, especially prawn culture only, right? So they won't be just going to publish in normal fisheries journal. They would be, let's say, going to prawn culture, where very few people are reading it. The impact factor would also be low. But I think what I said, and I think Dr. Menon kind of synced with it, was because the query came in regarding predatory journals, wherein the quality of the journal is already is at stake, and it's already kind of proven that there are some unethical practices going on, right? What you have mentioned is they are good quality journals, but probably low rated. That is acceptable.
Average,
That is,
yeah,
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 yes.
average
So
journals.
average or below average, because yeah, number of articles coming is less
Oh,
people are
yeah,
subscribing to
and
it.
some of these are
So
regional
that's
journals.
understandable. That's totally understandable. Yes. But predatory journals are a completely different ball game. What they do is they just take your money. They will not go through the entire process of peer review. So whatever the author is trusting their hard earned work with the publisher, they are not getting the benefit out of it, right? So that's where
Yeah, yeah,
the I
sure.
think the
Also,
difference lies.
it reminds me, and because you and Dr. Ms. Menon, you came from the same background. A lot of authors also reach out to me, and I want specifically Ms. Menon and you to mention this point. There is a lot of confusion amongst authors when we say predatory journals and the journals that come with APC, author processing charges. There are many good journals. Those are not predatory journals, but they, to have only serious authors coming to them, they have a process of APC. So how, what would you advise authors to differentiate that? Okay, not the journals that have APC are predatory journals, not necessarily. So, and authors are confused about it.
Yes, Dr. Rana, I think that's a very common problem we face, especially in South Asia, where that understanding of predatory journals is a little weak. I think one of the easiest way to know whether the journal is predatory or not would be to see who the publishing partner is. Reputed publishers are the safest bet. Again, I think one point I need to mention is that unfortunately we are going through a time where we are still judging the quality of a journal based on certain numbers, metrics, and hopefully what we're seeing is also a trend moving away from that, where we are seeing the true contribution of the articles that are being published in a journal. So hopefully the way we define what is a good journal and a bad journal would change in the coming years. But when it comes to predatory, I think the safest bet is when you have global publishers who are members of COPE and are following all the ethical practices for their journals would be the safest bet. Again, like you said, APC doesn't mean predatory. APCs can also be charged in very valid journals if you have gold open access. You have journals which may not be indexed, like a brand new journal that starts with charging APCs may not have index for the next few years. So we need to understand that we need to set that clarify that difference between APC and predatory. And I think when it comes to that question that was originally asked, yes, Dr. Datta, I'm completely in agreement with you in terms of when we are talking about predatory journals, and unfortunately, you may have a great article published in the wrong journal. It does take step back, unfortunately. So it does suffer because of the reputation of the journal and the services and the practices of the journal itself. So it becomes unfortunate that the author does not get any benefit from such cases.
Thank you so much, everyone. The next question that we have is someone has been using Mendeley and they're facing some issues. They have observed that when they cite a paper, it does not give the correct author information.
So that may be due to the paper, the place they have downloaded the paper from. Because what Mendeley does is it takes the electronic metadata embedded within the paper. If you take it from the publisher website, then all data would be, rightfully embedded, and Mendeley would be able to extract it. If it is not done, it's being put up in some repository or something may happen that proper or incomplete data is there, right? Or wrong data is also there because it's not reading from the paper. It is taking the metadata embedded in the paper, right? And extracting it. In that case, and when you cited it, it is giving wrong data. This can be corrected at manual level also. So let me just share my screen again. It's very easy to do it. So let's say I'm here on this paper. Not this one. Okay, this one. Let's say I'm here on this paper and I know that this data is wrong, like the author. There should have been one more author or this author is wrong. So I could delete this author, or all the authors are wrong. I could delete all of them and put the actual correct names, and or if one is missing, I can put a comma and put up the name, however, the format they have put it in, and just say details are correct. So once I save this, details are correct, then when I cite this paper with the corrected details, now you'll be able to cite your paper.
Right. So the next question
Hope
is,
it-
right. May I request the other speakers or participants to please mute themselves? Thank you. Right. Now, the next question is that my Mendeley library they have updated a paper and they have two authors, but when they cite the paper, only one author name is being cited. They're asking if the details can be rectified, if there's some ways of doing this.
I think the feature that I showed just now will answer this question as well. So if it is missing, you just add it over there, and when you cite it, it'll
Perfect.
be taken care
Right.
of.
The next question is, how can we clear the whole library?
Yeah, it's very simple. Simply delete all the papers. Yeah, that's possible. So all you have to do
Now,
is just go to your library, right
right.
click the papers, and there would be a delete option.
Perfect. The next question is there a way by which we can see which journals were discontinued by Scopus?
From Scopus?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course there is. So if you have a subscription to Scopus, then you can go to the Scopus platform. If you do not have subscription to Scopus, then you can go to Elsevier website and then, okay, let me just show it to you. Wait a minute. So you just type for Scopus source list, right? So this is taking me to scopus.com. I don't want to go there because that will open the page if it is subscribed by you, or else don't go for all this because this is ResearchGate, this is PhD talks. You don't want to go there. You want to go to the authentic site. So you see this is elsevier.com. Go to elsevier.com, open this, and otherwise over here also you can see elsevier.com. It is directly downloading the Excel file. So if you click on this, directly the Excel file will be downloaded, which contains lists of journals which have been removed from Scopus. Or else if you're not able to find this, you go to this content site, and make sure please that you go to the Elsevier site only, not to any other site, because they won't be having the correct information, and we do not know they have the correct data also or not. So if you click on that content site, because maximum times that is the one which will open, you just scroll down, and over here it says download the source title list inclusive of Scopus discontinued sources list. So just download it. An Excel sheet will be downloaded. And I would request you that you download this sheet afresh every time, because this is a dynamic sheet. It's updated every month. So it cannot be downloaded today and you kept it for reference for the entire year, right? So download this fresh every time you want to have a look.
Thank you. So we'll take the last question now. The question is about manual insertion or modification. They want to know that if there is a manual insertion or modification, can we retrieve the metadata information for that? And also if they want to do it for more than 20 papers like this, how do we go about it?
In the option that I showed, because I'm not very clear about the question. So if they are talking about the a manual intervention that I showed you, if the author is missing any or adding the authors, if you're talking about that, you want to do it for 20, you can do it for 20, you can do it for 100, but it will be done one paper at a time. You just cannot select a block of paper and do it, because of course the information would be different, right? So if you choose to do 20 papers at a time, it will create confusion. So
They're
you
wanting
have
to
to do
know,
one data at a time.
yeah, they're wanting to know if they can retrieve the metadata for this for those modified papers.
Yeah, of course. That's why you're making the changes in Mendeley. So
Right.
once you go to the Word page and you insert all the papers over there, that can be done, or you can export all of this data also. So if you go to Mendeley file, there would be a file option, and you can export that material also outside in an Excel sheet. So it can be done two ways. So either you take it to the Excel sheet directly from the library, or you go to the Word page and create a bibliography list of the papers that you need only for them, and you create a Word file on that. So two ways of doing it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dutta. I think we've come to the end of our presentation. I'd like to invite for the closing remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Disha Lakhanpal. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, On behalf of the Emerald Publishing, Gulf Medical University and Faculty of Management Studies of the Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka, and on my own behalf, extend a very hearty word of thanks to the main speaker of the session, Dr. Shubhra Dutta, customer consultant from the Elsevier. Ma'am, it was indeed an insightful session. At the outset, I would like to express my profound gratitude to the Faculty of Management Studies of the Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka, headed by Professor Athula Gnanapala. Further, I would like to express my special gratitude to Professor Aslam, Chairman and other all members of the Research and Publication Unit of the Faculty of Management Studies for their unconditional support. I would also like to express our sense of obligations to regional coordinators for their kind guidance for this event and also in helping us in strengthening various mechanisms. In particular, the support rendered by Dr. Jayantha N. Dewasiri, Senior Lecturer, Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka, Ms. Sangeeta Menon, Publishing Relationship Manager, Emerald Publishing, Professor Sudhir Rana, Gulf Medical University, and Professor Kashif Said, GIFT University, Pakistan. In fact, they supported a lot in making this program a great success. Then, with the gratitude, let me also thank Ms. Disha Lakhanpal, Regional Marketing Manager, Emerald Publishing Group, for the support rendered in making this program a great success. Then, with a great respect, I would like to thank to all the distinguished officials from Emerald Publishing, Gulf Medical University, and the Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka. Finally, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the audience, all the senior professors, senior academics, visiting faculties, researchers, industry participants, partner university representatives, research students, media presenters, including Sunday Observer and Sunday Times for their active participation. Thank you all again.
So thank you very much, everyone, for joining today. Next week, we are going to have a session to be conducted by Professor Shanti Gopalakrishnan on navigating the publishing process in journals. So she is the editor-in-chief of South Asian Journal of Business Studies, owned by Emerald. So we'll join next Thursday at 12:30 p.m.
Thank you so much, everyone. See you next Thursday. Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Dr. Dutta.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure connecting with you all. And it was a lovely interaction with the audience, I would say. We had a lot of questions. Really enjoyed that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Ms. Menon. Bye, Dr. Jayantha.
Bye.
See you all next week. Thank you.